Every founder and CEO I talk to has the same exact problem. There's just not enough hours in the day, in the week, the month, or even the year, really. And too much of the time that we have goes to things that could and should be automated. Hi, I'm Travis McBurney. I founded McBurney Group, where we build custom AI solutions for your specific operations. We train your people how to use them and help you think clearly on where and how AI can help your business. The point just isn't just about saving time. It's also making sure your business can keep up with AI as AI changes, what competition even looks like.
Hello,
Hey, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. Deborah, firstly, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
It's a pleasure. I'm really happy to be here.
So I've gone through your profile. I can see you're doing great work. So I thought to tell about your work to my audience. So can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Deborah Kelly. I run a business called StudioDMK, which is a marketing and business development agency, predominantly supporting law firms and professional service providers with brand, marketing, business development, communications. I've been running the business for almost a year now. Prior to that, I have had nearly 20-year career in marketing and business development across a range of sectors. And I'm really passionate about people and how we can connect with people and bring people together, and also how business can show up and do good in the world. And you can only really do that by having a successful and profitable business that then allows you to give back. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm based in Manchester in the northwest of England, but my career, I'm from Manchester originally, but my career's taken me to London, and I've had the privilege of working globally as well. So had the opportunity to travel, to experience different things, meet lots of people with different perspectives, and now I'm back in Manchester. And I suppose doing things on my own terms and having the autonomy to do things on my own terms as well.
So can you tell us more about Studio DMK, when it started, and what's your motivation behind it?
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned, I've always worked in marketing and business development from the very start of my career. And I've always worked in B2B marketing and BD. So my career at various points has, I suppose, led me to work with professional services providers, and then I worked in-house as head of business development at Gunnar Cook, which is Europe's fastest growing law firm by partner numbers. So I was in-house there for a couple of years, and then after COVID, and the world changed, people were working from home. We then went back into offices, and I found that professional services and legal firms, they want everybody back in the office 4 or 5 days a week. And for me, for my family and personal circumstances, I just cannot be in the office 5 days a week and, look after my family and support them the way that I want to. So I've always sort of had like a passion for business, and I just thought, right, now's the time to sort of make the big step out on my own, and support from my family has really just allowed me to, and give me the confidence as well to say, right, I'm gonna set this up. So July 2025, I registered the business, and over the 6-week summer holidays, gave myself the challenge of bringing a brand and and all the products and services that go with that to market. And I said I'm going to launch early September, and just went for it basically. And looking back now, there's so many things that I've learned along the way in such a short period of time. But the number one thing for me is being brave enough to do it and to go, actually, I'm going to leave the job that I love, leave a law firm that I love that does good in the world, leave them and set up something for myself. And yeah, the 12 months have been, full of highs, full of lows, full of learnings. And, that's what I'm passionate about, like learning something new every day, pushing yourself. But, the motivation was to have the autonomy to do something purely, for myself. Also, I pride myself on the quality of my work and not having the restrictions that can come with a leadership role, where you're leading teams of people, you're line managing lots of people, and you've got constraints around you of reporting, meetings, internal politics, all that kind of thing. To free yourself of that and just actually focus on the quality of work and the clients is actually really quite refreshing. So, being honest, my ambition, I want to run a commercially successful business, of course I do, but also I want to work with clients that are the right fit for me and I'm the right fit for them, that allow me the creativity as a marketeer, to deliver great work for them. So I take my time a lot more now, and I don't squeeze in loads and loads of clients. And I purposely kept things small as well, because I want to be in control, I suppose, of my ideas and how they're implemented. So I keep everything intentionally quite small so that it can be intentionally creative and also of a really high standard and a high quality, which obviously is of benefit to the clients that I serve.
So, you said B2B. So, what are the businesses that you served for, and which industries that belong to, and also what is the scale of the business that you serve or you served in this almost 1 year?
Yeah, so the types of businesses that I work with are law firms and professional services providers. So one of my clients is a mediation business called Hunt ADR, and they provide mediation and arbitration services to their clients. So really thinking about how businesses, small businesses, but also large businesses, handle disputes and conflicts between businesses, whether that be in an acquisition, a merger, a takeover, or supplier and relationships like that. So that it's quite a niche area, commercial mediation, but I help them tell their story, but then also get them thinking about how they help businesses, how they can engage with businesses, and then thinking about the different services that they offer. Not every service needs the same amount of coverage and marketing. So it's thinking commercially about, where does that business owner want to get to? Where do they want to be? What's the kind of work that they enjoy doing? And then coming up with a plan that helps them create the business that they want. But then also my client at Hunt ADR is really passionate about, giving something back to the next generation. So helping that business come up with training ideas, ways that they can engage with the next generation of talent that are coming through. So they have a podcast that I support with about commercial disputes, but it's sharing the knowledge and exchanging the knowledge of a business owner that's worked in mediation for years with a younger audience in a really accessible way. And then I also work with law firms. I choose to work with either quite specialist firms, so boutique firms, or small to medium-sized businesses. And I also have a service line that works with individual lawyers and partners around their personal branding. So an individual partner that wants to elevate their personal brand, I will work with them on a one-to-one basis. And some of the work is almost coaching them around how they can show up and how they can articulate their message. But then also it can be a bit more tactical in terms of helping them with their LinkedIn presence, helping them with their personal presence if they're speaking at a conference. So it's quite varied, but that's what I like about, this space is the variation of different clients that you get to work with. Most of my clients are managing partners of their firms or senior leaders within the firms.
So, what is the geographical land or geographical area that you serve?
Will you repeat the question? Sorry.
What are the places that you serve for? Which place and which geographical land?
So yes, so I work in the UK. I predominantly work with UK-based businesses, although I do have a couple of clients that are US based as well, that are either entering the UK market, so they might be opening new offices here or starting to serve their clients remotely through digital channels, but the sectors are quite broad. I tend to focus on commercial law firms or full service law firms, where that's where my background of B2B marketing can add the most value. And within the UK, my primary client base is London as the capital, but obviously, so much legal activity and professional services presence in the city. And then after that, my clients tend to be sort of Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, some in Preston, which are like the northern hubs of the legal market here in England.
Which industries that you most serve right now? Which
Um,
industries businesses?
yeah, so I have my mediation client who works on obviously commercial mediation and arbitration. My other clients, again, they tend to be from corporate law firms. So looking at intellectual property and also, I suppose, the change in AI and technology and how that's transforming legal and professional services. I also have some clients that are corporate and commercially focused. Again, as I said, I don't work with a huge volume of clients purposefully. But yeah, they tend to be from those sectors, because I suppose that's the way I've curated my work to be. But I am in previous roles, I've worked in inward investment, so helping overseas companies set up, grow and expand in London and in Manchester, Greater Manchester. So I'm very well plugged into the business community. So in particular, professional services sector, creative industries are really strong for the UK, especially London and Manchester. So they're sectors that I, have worked with in the past and that I still have relationships, and my network is very active in those areas, and I take a particular interest in those sectors as well.
So, what is the business today in today's world? Because there is AI that took place, and as you said, you have been into the business and marketing from last 20 years. I'm sure you might have witnessed and also encountered a lot of mistakes that most businesses or business owners do. Right. So, can you tell us how it works actually? Get into the market and be successful and make their and create their own impact.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I'm not sure if I really believe in mistakes. So I think everything happens for a reason. What I think is the biggest learning is when you feel like a mistake has been made or something's gone wrong or not the way you intended it to. It's what you learn from it. So I think back to some of the people that I've worked with over a 20-year career, and I think for me it comes back to communication. So the best leaders who may get things wrong or may make mistakes communicate very, very well. And when I say communicate, I mean in all forms. So a saying that one of my previous bosses, you've got two ears and one mouth. And, listening is so important. So for me, listening to what your colleagues are saying, what your stakeholders are saying, what your clients are saying is a huge part of business. So again, a former boss of mine used to say feedback is a gift, and that really helped me rewire my thinking around receiving feedback. Because if you're oblivious or unaware of something that you've said or done, you can't do anything about it. So feedback is a gift, and when you receive it, showing up and having the edge about you to say, okay, I've had this feedback, it wasn't great, but now we're going to act on this, now we're going to action this. And that's what I've seen the best leaders do, is that they listen, they take the time to reflect, they communicate the message very clearly, and then they act upon it. And action and getting things done is really key as well. I spend a lot of my time sort of advising clients and working with them on strategy and planning, and that's amazing for thinking long term. But also sometimes you just need to get things done, and you just need to act and action. And I value leaders that can give you that feedback, that are willing to act upon it, stand by the decisions. So that's something that I've learned along the way, and that I really apply in my business. I take the time to listen, but also I'm quite decisive as well. Once I make a decision, I want to get on and I want to deliver things that are going to activity that's going to make an impact. And I think, for me, like looking back on my career and thinking about what I've learned, learning's amazing, and everybody should, seek to learn every day. But also, like, I want to apply that in the work that I do, and applying that work and creating an impact that's how I move my business forward. But it's also how I move the businesses forward that I work with in my client base, as well as getting things done.
So how different it is for you to work with businesses which belongs to different industries? So every business has its own path and its own strategy, its own client, its own target audience, and its own viewers, uh, products and sales. So how do you adapt yourself uh, to jump into one business to other business and understand their business in detail and understand the process and how they have been doing with the team that they have. Uh, how much time usually you take to understand a business to serve them?
So I'm quite targeted in the work that I do. So I work with a business coach who sort of acts as my accountability partner, and pushes me and challenges me to do things. So together we've shaped a list of target clients that I would like to work with, and I'm very focused around that. So I have a wall chart on my wall, like I write things down that I can sort of see every day. And then I have actions in my calendar every day, like focusing on, what can I do that will push my business forward today. And it can be really simple, following up on an email, a connection request on LinkedIn, personal development for myself. So I think I'm targeted with the firms that I would like to work with. And then it comes down to as well, like connection with people. I'm not for everyone. And I think, you meet people, and I'm quite good around my gut instinct of, I know quite quickly when I meet someone, am I a good fit? Are we going to work together well? And I think, everything needs to be in partnership. So I really work consultatively because I'm working with managing directors, founders of businesses. It's okay. So I was saying, a lot of the time, because I work with founders or managing partners of businesses, I'm really cautious and conscious that, them as the leader and the founder of their business, it's them, it's their ideas, it's their work. So I try to work really collaboratively around and sensitively around that. So one of my clients, so he is busy every day practicing, and 9 to 5 every day. I can't get time with him, but we keep in touch every day, like via a simple WhatsApp communication. And then I, I help him sort of filter all the noise and things like that comes to me, and then I go to him and present once a month, like, this is what I need a decision on, this is what I need to make you aware of, this is other stuff that actually you don't need to be aware of, but I want you to know that I've handled it and it's in hand, no action required. And I think, again, communication, and making life easier for these founders, building trust with them. And then, if someone comes to me, I offer 45 minutes with them, complimentary, where it's completely confidential, bounce ideas around, see if you're the right fit, you've got the right chemistry for a working relationship. And then I don't push too much, because I think after that meeting, it's either clear, like, yes, we're going to work together and it's going to be, off we go and let's start actioning and doing things, or we're not the right fit for each other for whatever reason, and that's fine. Like, go off and work with somebody else who just suits your business better or has better knowledge. And then I think as well, being able to confidently refer people across your network. So, if I can't work with somebody because I'm fully booked or we're not the right fit, I've got a trusted network that I've built up over years that I can then go, I'd love to help you, but I can't right now. Here's my amazing colleague, who will be able to help. So I think, that connection is really important. So that's how I tend to work with my clients.
What is the best feedback that you got from any founder or chief executive officer or the managing partner that you work with?
So I'm never very good about sort of celebrating my successes very well, but I think for me, just that I've made their life easier by working with me. Either they trust me to get things done and to get things done appropriately and to a high standard, and that I can filter the right things through to them so they can, trust me to go off and deliver a project, or trust me to almost be the face of their brand. Like it's a big deal. Asking somebody else to deliver your marketing and business development and or commercial function. So when people say that they trust me, and that might be by referring me to somebody else, like a referral, a recommendation, or like, it's great working with you. You've made my life so much easier. For a business owner, like, that's what I want to do. I want to make their life better and make it easier and make their business better and make the business easier because it's smoother and the experience is better. So yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to help busy business owners navigate owning a business and just make it easier for them.
So what changes that you are observing in the present market, and how the government, the governance, and also politics, there are so many factors that actually influences business development and business growth, right? So what all, the new things or the changes that you are observing in the current market? Because there will be a lot of founders and chief executive officers or business developers will be watching our conversation, right, from anywhere. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, so in the space that I'm working in, I see, in terms of AI, artificial intelligence, I see one of two things. So I either see law firms who want nothing to do with artificial intelligence. They don't want AI anywhere near their business, that it scares them. So I either see that, or the complete stark contrast of businesses that are willing to innovate, that are willing to take a risk, which is not an easy thing to do when you're a risk averse lawyer, which is what many of the business owners and managing partners that I work with are. So the ones that are ready to innovate and use new and emerging technologies to better serve their clients, So whether it's speeding up response time or, closing the gap in terms of communication or gathering market intelligence for them. I think the firms that are not using AI for AI's sake, but are using it and applying it meaningfully, are the firms that are going to, be successful in the future. What I am seeing more, or I'm trying to educate my clients more on, is how consumers, because ultimately, yes, this is about lawyers and how they show up, but it's about doing that for their clients so that they can better serve their clients. So a lot of the work that I'm doing is educating lawyers and business owners around how digitalization has changed how we consume products and services. So you go on Instagram and, lawyers don't tend to be in that space, but partners need and lawyers need to understand that the market's changed with how people interact with brands and businesses. So I do a lot of work on educating them of what that means, and also like how can they meet their audience in a different way, whether that's prospects, whether that's established clients, like how can they meet them and show up for them in a way that's different and that's changing, because tech has transformed marketing and how you reach clients. So for example, if you're a client researching a law firm now, in the past, you might have trawled through Google. Now, AI is providing a summary for you of the top 3 law firms in your area, so like old marketing tactics don't work for you to be ranked and featured by AI, and partners and lawyers need to rethink the activity that they're doing, the way that they're showing up to, catch up with that technology and catch up with that buyer behaviour as well. So I suppose a little bit different in terms of what, traditional marketing and BD agencies and consultancies might do. But yeah, using different techniques, different learnings from other sectors, that are often B2C traditionally, that, allow you to reach your client or your potential client more effectively and get your message across in a more effective way. So I think they're like the big trends that we're seeing at the moment. Yeah.
How do you choose your client and how do client chooses you?
So I think I mentioned like I don't choose my clients. My clients choose me. So I have a list of prospect firms that I admire for different reasons, that I think could benefit from working with me. And I think one of the important things as a business owner is, making time and protecting time for your own business development. So every day I dedicate an hour a day to business development. for Studio DMK. Like, how can I move the business forward? What can I do to help secure my next client? And I encourage all business owners to do the same. So for me, like on a busy day, that might be, this activity is not going to happen today because it doesn't. Does it get me closer to my goal? Does it help me get there faster? If it doesn't answer that question, then it's not the right activity for me to be doing. So I suppose I protect my time, and I purposely like planning business development activities every day so that I can move the business forward. And I'd say as well, like, I listen. So if somebody is like, I don't think we're the right fit for one another, I think you've had your answer there. And I don't really think, going back to the same, okay, let's try again in a couple of months. Let's try again in a couple of months. For me, I'm like, right, let's move on to the next thing, because they've made the decision, and you sort of have to accept that and be fine with that. And as a salesperson, you become quite resilient, and the signals. So it's like you just got to keep going and move on. And I think that's something that you get more comfortable with as you go along your journey. Like, you become so much more resilient. It's nothing personal, but if somebody's not getting back to you, like, I'm not going to keep chasing them. I'm not going to keep doing that. They're sending me a message, and I'm going to move on to the next thing that's a better fit. So that's my approach.
So, at last, what do you say about Studio DMK to my audience and to the business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs, founders, for watching and listening to this? And also tell us where they can reach out to you and take your services.
Yeah, so I mean, well, firstly, like, thank you to you and for having me on your podcast, and thank you to anyone that's listened, because I really value the time that they've taken to listen, and I appreciate it. I think my message would be, really think about marketing and personal branding and how you show up for yourself. It's got to be authentic. Show up for your clients and your future clients. And I think, like, small changes that you can implement every day will help you move your business forward. So whether that's spending 10 minutes every day on business development, like, just, action things and make things happen. I think that's really important. And I have my website, which is StudioDMK.com. I've got loads of free resources on there: blogs, insights, market intelligence, reports that are, predominantly aimed at lawyers and partners within law firms, but really they're applicable for any business owner thinking about marketing, communications, and personal brand and how they show up. And then I have, if you go to StudioDMK.com, you can sign up for my newsletters. So I produce content every other week that looks at different brands and what they're doing to meet their clients, and then also provides like tips and takeaways, case studies, etc., around business development and marketing. And then I'm also on LinkedIn, so I'd love to connect there. So I'm Deborah Kelly on LinkedIn, and I've got a StudioDMK company page, and I'm on Instagram as well. So very happy to connect, like share advice, exchange ideas. Yeah, like collaboration's really important. So that's where I am.
At last, as an entrepreneur, as a person who is into business and helping different businesses and founders, chief executive officers, uh, and and all kinds of businesses in UK. So, what's your observation about my work? You have seen my work.
Yeah, no, I love like the fact that you've created a space that's for up and coming and established businesses as well, because I think when you are starting a business, it's actually like it can be quite a lonely place to be. And you're carrying a lot of responsibility of starting something up, and that you've put your life and soul and into is quite a unique journey to go on. So the fact that you share knowledge and allow people a space to exchange that knowledge, learn from other people, learn from different perspectives, is really quite special. So I love listening and learning from different people that you've had on your show and platform. And I just think that community is really important as a business owner, that you can connect with like-minded people, and often just share ideas and bounce ideas around in a space that that other people understand. And most people want to help. Most people want to help, and can be very generous with their help. So like, I appreciate you having me on your show. That's a help. Like, and if I can provide help to anyone within your audience, like, I'm more than happy to do that.
Can I put this conversation on my podcast with your permission?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Thank you again, Deborah, for giving me your valuable time to connect with us and letting know us what work that you do and how you serve businesses and how you solve different problems on different businesses with regards to different industries in UK. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. See you. Bye.